There was a point in my life where I actually was homeless, not struggling financially and not living with friends, actually homeless, without a roof over my head. When you fall that low, it feels like this is your life now. It doesn't feel like it's temporary. It doesn't feel that it will somehow get sorted out. It feels that this is it. I was sleeping on a staircase in a building of just apartment blocks building that I managed to get in. Wasn't permitted to stay there, but I had nowhere to go, so it was warmer than sleeping outside. I was hungry. I only had the clothes that were on me, which wasn't much considering it was autumn. It was quite cold. I didn't have any money to buy food or clothes. And it was at that time that I promised myself that I will have a roof over my head and it will be mine. And honestly, at that time, it sounded so ridiculous. But I kept the promise. Years later, I bought my own house, a couple of them. What got me out of there, it wasn't the self-hatred, because I had enough of that. I had enough of the feeling that I hated the situation and myself, as a matter of fact. It also wasn't the compassion or pity, because I couldn't ask for help. I couldn't even tell my closest ones about what was happening. I was too embarrassed to say that I was homeless. My mother didn't know. It just went on and on for months. What got me out of there was a vision. It was a promise to my own self. It was my relentless desire not to agree with the reality I was in. And what bothers me most now, it's seeing people who are stuck, not necessarily homeless, but who are just stuck in life and who don't do anything different but to complain about their circumstances, about the world, about how difficult it is. I understand all that. I was there. It's what gets me. Because it's not that I don't understand, it's because I understand it too well. I understand it too well that all of the excuses that we made for ourselves, that this is their circumstances, it shouldn't have happened, it's unfair, and just all of that. That works up to a certain point, and then it doesn't. Because at some point, that victimhood stops you from actually wanting better things in life, wanting to move on. Because it just feels like not gonna change anything anyway. I've been there, I've made all those excuses. But at one point, that's not circumstances, that's a choice. I know what it feels when life feels impossible. I know what it feels like when you look around and think everyone else has better advantages than I have. Everyone else is more privileged than I am. They have better families. They don't come from abuse. They have more money. They just are more intelligent, more better looking, more this, more that. And here is me, I barely have anything. And I know how it all feels. I thought the same way. I was there. For years, I also believed that it was by me being hard on myself that I got out of that hole of being homeless. That maybe people just need to take more accountability, stop blaming others, and just be more responsible for their lives. But then, the older I get, the more I understand that what got me out of the situation that I was in, it wasn't self-hatred, because I had plenty of that. It wasn't the contempt. It wasn't somebody yelling at me saying, put your life together, this is a mess. It wasn't someone else's pity, because, like I said, not many people knew what was going on. I was just too embarrassed to even share that. Contempt might give you a push, and it might even work for a bit. Because when you're just fed up with your circumstances, it can give you a gentle push to change it, but it won't fuel you for the whole journey, because it doesn't create direction, and it burns. It burns both ways. It burns you, and it burns the people that you are directing it to. The contempt cannot create the path. Only vision can. In this case, does the personal accountability matters? Yes, absolutely it does matter. Because it wasn't somebody else's fault at the time. Even though I blamed the world. I blamed the world, I blamed the family, I blamed everything and everyone in what was happening to me. But essentially, it wasn't up to them to change any of that. It wasn't on me. And it was me ultimately who changed it all as well. Nobody can build your future for you. Nobody can create a plan for you. Nobody can walk the path. Nobody can make a decision for you. Only you can do that. And maybe that's the reason why people who are still stuck frustrate me so much. Because I see in them where I was. And I understand all of their excuses. I understand it all. But didn't my contempt just move the direction where instead of facing myself, I am now just looking at them and don't accept them in those circumstances because I know they can get out. If I did, then why can they not, right? It feels that what irritates us in other people is just a shadow. It's something we don't accept in ourselves. But other times, it can also be that we just understand it too well. We just see in them where we once were. And that's why it feels so frustrating, someone not doing much about it. And a part of me thinks that it's only until they decide themselves that it's time to move forward, that it's time to make that promise to themselves, it's only then that they can actually go forward. Nothing anybody says will ever change a thing. That promise needs to come from you, to you, just like mine under that staircase. That was personal. Nobody needed to know about it. Yeah, I hope it helps. You can subscribe if you want to. You can not subscribe if you don't want to. Whichever you choose is fine. Bye.